I don't know. Okay. Maybe my hand. Damn it. Okay. Didn't know my nipple was out this whole time. Free the nipple. Okay. Hello. This is the part 2 of the episode 3 preview. And since our last video, I looked more into the techniques and influences of history to kind of advance ceramics in the way that it is now, and a lot of terms and kind of technical abilities of modern society today that kind of solidified ceramics as a fine arts even. And when we talk about ceramics, clay is only a ceramic if it's fired. So some of the evidence that we found in caves and kind of underground locations are not necessarily considered ceramics. These artifacts wouldn't have been preserved if they weren't in a cave because of the conditions, mainly because it was significantly higher humidity in those caves that they would be able to survive this long, thousands of years, to then be discovered and analyzed to give us a hint into cultures and stuff like that. So, and then once we get into types of ceramics, it mainly goes by firing temperature points, which are very hot. I didn't realize how hot clay had to be fired at in order to become the type of ceramic that they want it to be. And then there's also the type of consistency beforehand, before they fire it, that becomes part of the end result too. So earthenware is referencing back to 4th grade, would probably be more on this side of the spectrum. If you fire anything hotter than 2000 degrees Fahrenheit, that's quote earthenware, it'll start to melt. This mug from Target is a stoneware mug, so that's kind of like the next level up from earthenware, and that's fired from anywhere between 2000 to 2350 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we have our espresso mug again that is made out of porcelain. This specific one, I think this set is made in Brazil. Brazil. Porcelana. I don't know if that's how you say that. And porcelain is fired at temperatures ranging from 2150 degrees to 2600 degrees Fahrenheit. And the techniques to use all this vary differently, with lots of different ways you can make mold the clay, and there's such thing as wet clay versus wedging versus leather hard clay, which is all types of consistency and the amount of moisture. We all know about throwing pottery on a wheel, and by hand, molded by hand. There's coil built where you take ropes of clay, which is what this is, and you kind of stack it on top of each other. There's slab built, which is more just taking slabs of clay and then building off of there. And then porcelain is usually made by slip casting, which is where you make an original mold out of one object, and then you pour in liquid clay, basically, into that mold, and that's when you can fire the porcelain, and it creates the porcelain. Pottery has always been a staple in society, and just like the last video, there's been many cultures and historical influences that have shaped and molded, literally and figuratively, society in the ceramic world today. Just like those pottery shards found in China, there's also the statue, the little sculpturette figurine, Venus of Vistonese in the Czech Republic, or the Czech region. And then the Greeks, when I think of pottery, or ancient pottery at least, I think of Greek pottery, and there's a guy named Ezekias who is famous for the black figure painting, which is found in a lot of Greek pottery, where they have the figurines kind of splayed out doing something. And so that's around 540 BCE. The Venus statuette was around the same time as the Chinese pottery shards, so 20,000+ years ago. In between those two was the Minoan society, and there is a great example of a big pottery vase with an octopus on it, octopus amorpha. It was around 1500 BC. Pottery and ceramics are so influential to human history that even timeline of cultures can be designated for the types and the shapes of the pottery found during those eras. So, for example, the Beaker Culture, its namesake is because of the bell beakers found in the vaguely Central European area. Flash forward a few thousand years to more contemporary dates. There are two more famous artists. Starting in 1917, there was Marcel Duchamp in Paris, who took a urinal, laid it on its side, signed it with a fake name, and put the date. And then there was Marais Oppenheim, who did Fur Breakfast around 1936. Marcel Duchamp was part of the Dada movement, while Oppenheim was part of the Surrealist movement. So that's 1917 and 1936, respectively. Flash forward about 40 years and you get into the pop art movement. Pop art. And you run into, there's David Gilhooly, and then there's Bob Armisen, there's Marilyn Levine, who took clay and created these suitcases and these boots and all these things typically made out of leather, and she made them look like leather, and it's really impressive, and it's kind of amazing to see how much you can manipulate pottery and ceramics to look like something that's total opposite. Flash forward a few more decades and you come across some very influential artists. Specifically, the one that comes to my mind is Jeff Koons, who's probably more famous for his stainless steel installations. There's the balloon dog, but he also did the life-size version of Michael Jackson and Bubbles. So it's fun to see culture kind of reflect itself in a way that is a media that we've been using again for thousands of years, and has evolved to what we do today. And that's next week's task, is to kind of research current trends of 2023 and anything else we find interesting in pottery. I got a great film session in today with my friend Salem, who does pottery, and it was so much fun to learn about their techniques and their history and just apply that to the piece that we made together. And so I'm excited to show you that in a couple weeks for the main video, and we can go from there. Okay, love you, bye! Oh! There, that should be good. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Make sure my nipple's not showing.